Welcome back again. Geometry, this time section 9.2. We're working mostly with circles and regular polygons. This is going to be a two-part video. Part 1 is going to be with circles. Part 2 is going to be regular polygons. So, let's take an example of something that we're looking at with circles. The idea with circles is to remember the two key formulas. The area is pi r squared, if I can write it correctly here, and the circumference, which is the same thing as the perimeter, if you really want to think about what's going on, is 2 pi r. We need to remember that over and over and over again. The circumference and area of this circle, well, we know that 5xy is our r. So if I'm trying to find the circumference, it's 2 pi times r. I'm going to fill r in right there. Then I simplify and I get 10xy pi equals my circumference. Similarly, something to remember that when I'm squaring a group of terms that are all multiplied together into one factor, I'm going to square each of those, the x, the y, and the 5. So that's how I get the 25x squared y squared. And then of course the constant pi. So let's just dive right in. Here's the first one. It says find the circumference of circle G. Well, if I notice that the whole diameter is 2 over pi feet, so the diameter equals 2 over pi. And the radius equals half the diameter, which is going to be half of 2 over pi. Well, if I reduce that, that means that the radius, r, is just 1 over pi. Well, let's see what happens then when I need to find the circumference. The circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius, which in this case is 2 times pi times 1 over pi. This is kind of interesting because now we have that the circumference is just 2. I need to check out the units. I notice that it's in feet, so this is 2 feet. That's kind of interesting because usually we're used to having pi in our answer, and right now it's not. Let's take a look at this next one. It says the area of circle J. Well, we don't have a circle J in there. I'm going to go ahead and draw one just so we have something to look at. And we have this circle J, so that means the little center dot is J. And the circumference equals 14 pi. So all the way around is 14 pi. Well, let's see how that helps us to try and find the area, because that's the question that they're asking us. We know that the circumference is 2 times pi times r. Well, I know that 14 pi is the same thing as my circumference. So 14 pi equals 2 times pi times r. Well, I'm going to reduce this side down to just 1r. So I need to make this a 2 pi on the bottom and a 2 pi over here. I've got to do the same thing both sides. The pi is reduced on both sides. These 2's reduce. This 14 and the 2 reduce to 7 and 1. That means that 7 is my radius. How does that help me? Well, if I'm trying to find the area, I know that area equals pi times the radius squared. So if I know the radius, then I know that the area, pi r squared, is really pi times 7 squared, which in this case is going to be 49 pi. Now, paying close attention to my units, that means it's going to be yards squared. Just to clarify, that's not 49 pi y, that's 49 pi yards squared. Excellent. Let's keep moving. This is the last one that we're going to do for this video, and then we're going to jump into regular polygons, but just working with circles. It's asking me for the diameter, and it says that the area is this algebraic term, this algebraic expression here. I know that area equals pi times the radius squared. So if I know that the area is really 64x squared pi, let's see what the r would be then. 64x squared pi equals pi r squared. Well, if I reduce the pi on both sides, that's going to be 1 over 1 for those pi's. So then I have 64x squared equals the radius squared. Why would I be wanting to find the radius? Well, if I think ahead, I know that the diameter is going to be 2 times the radius. So if I find the radius, then multiply it by 2, then I get my diameter. Let's see if we can figure out the radius from this step. We notice that each side has a squared in it. Even the 64 is something squared. So if I square root each piece, that means I got square root 64, square root of x squared. Over here I have square root of r squared. Well, that's going to be an r for that, an x for this, and 64 square rooted becomes 8. So 8x is my radius, but I'm going to use that now over here to figure out the diameter. Diameter is 2 times that radius, so the diameter is equal to 16x. If you want a visual just to see where these pieces were coming from, we knew that the radius was equal to 8x. So then if we were trying to find the diameter, the full length across, that was right here. So this whole diameter was 16x. And of course, units, just like always, we had meters squared for area, so this is going to be meters for my diameter, and for my radius as well, actually. Okay, that's it for this. See you in the next video.